Hey, welcome back to the Leash Mind Podcast, Mental Health and Dog Training. I'm your host, Mandy. On today's episode, I have a conversation with Marissa Martino from Paws and Reward. So I wanted her to come on the podcast because I have been a fan of hers for years. Of course, naturally, if you know Marissa, you would know why. But it primarily because how she has navigated her business and how mindful she is with her business, with her clients, with her own dog, Peru, with her own podcast, with how she goes and works with shelters because she works with shelters in Colorado and California. And so we do talk a lot about mindfulness within our business, checking in with ourselves, being more present with our dogs. Of course, yes, but also checking in with how we're feeling in the moment, ways that we can provide ourselves more self care, and how that can look from day to day, because it varies from day to day, how we move through our business in an intentional way that is ultimately setting up how we want our business to grow, how we want to connect with clients, how we want to train, really, bottom line. But so throughout this episode, we talk a lot about mindfulness and just navigating the human dog relationship, of course, but also just really taking care of ourselves and our business so that we can have a longer career and so that we can continue to enjoy what we do. Because there is no way that Marissa has done this for as long as she has, since 2007, and loves what she does without taking that time to care for herself, without taking that time to check in and see where she needs to be more mindful in what scenario. So let's just get into the episode. Marissa, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, and I'm so excited about the topic of your podcast. It's really needed, and I'm honored to be here.
I feel like you are just one of the perfect people to come on because I know how much you really do prioritize mental wellness, especially within your training programs that you have. It's a lot more relationship based in the connection, which I really appreciate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So, for those that may not know you, can you give a quick little background of how you got started and kind of where you are in your career right now?
Yeah. I like to tell the story that I was working at Martha Stewart Living because that is
Oh,
my
funny.
my previous life. Yeah, everyone's always like, "What? What were you doing there?" So I was a designer out of college, and I was curious about a career working with dogs, and fortunately met up with this amazing trainer that went to the Academy for Dog Trainers back in the day when it was at the San Francisco SPCA. And then like a year and a half later I went, and I always joke that my family was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
That's always, yeah.
Like, "What? What are you doing?" And so I was there for a few months, and then I really wanted to become a part of something. So I started my career in animal welfare and still in animal welfare. I worked at 3 different shelters, both in California and Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So animal sheltering is definitely a passion of mine. And then on the side of working in animal sheltering, I've had my own private practice, both in California and now here in Colorado. And like you said, I really prioritize, like, I love behavior and I love to geek out
Right.
like the rest of them. And what my mission, like what gets me up in the morning is bringing some awareness to pet parents about themselves through the lens of the relationship with their dog. So whether we're working on a behavior concern or whether they're just taking a look at themselves and how they show up in that relationship, building that self-awareness, and then those skills to have a deeper relationship with their animal, themselves, and others, like that's the stuff that really makes me excited. So that's what I have been up to.
I love that you emphasize on that, and it's not so much just average training, it's the connection, it's the relationship, it's seeing our role in it, which is a great angle because I feel like a lot of the times it goes past that. Owners don't really see where it's like, "Oh, I am involved in this," and it does, our bond is important to our training protocol. When did you decide to kind of lean more into that direction? Did you always kind of wanna focus on that kinda emphasis?
No, I didn't. I had an amazing therapist when I was 25. This was a long time ago. And she started bringing up the parallels between like my work at the Humane Society of Boulder, Boulder Valley with my clients and then my work with myself. So she was creating those
Oh,
parallels for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Okay, there's a lot here. Like I can learn about myself and how I process the world around me through the lens of how my dog processes things around her. And I can also be really curious about, if I'm getting triggered by my dog when she does A, B, and C behavior. Oh, interesting. I
right.
also get triggered in other areas of my life when I'm out of control or I'm feeling less than or fill in the blank, right? So it wasn't until my therapist really started to point out some of those parallels. And then I started getting really curious about my relationship with Sully. And this was 13, 14 years ago.
Right.
And when Sully was reactive, I did a lot of like, even though I was a trainer, and it's such a silly story, like when I go back and rehash it, but I did a lot of like blaming him and I was really disconnected from him and I just wanted to fix it versus okay, let me take a step back and evaluate everything
Sure.
and let's come at this from a teamwork perspective. And that's when I was like, "Oh, interesting. Do I try to control other areas of my life the same way I'm trying to control my dog?" Turns out, spoiler alert, I do, right? So I was just, sort of, like, enmeshed in this, I could really learn a thing or 2 about myself. Some areas that I'm succeeding and some areas that might need some tweaking, right? Through the lens of relating, working with, being with my dog, and it almost felt a little safer for me to do it in that container, and then get a little bit curious about how else I'm showing up in other areas. So, that's where it sort of all began, and then
I love that.
it just keeps getting, like, deeper and deeper as I do more work on myself, if that makes sense.
Oh, I love that. Well, so I'm curious how your clients feel about that approach and do they feel like just more welcomed and like they can kind of be themselves and break down those walls when they're working with you and notice their role in the training aspect too?
Yeah, I would like to think so. I would like to think that I create a space for my clients to feel really seen because it's really hard to care for a dog that has behavior concerns. I mean, it's really hard to care for a dog, period, right? Like
Right.
I wouldn't say Peru, my new dog, has significant behavior concerns, but she is an adolescent and sometimes our agendas don't align, right?
Right. I like that.
And so just caregiving for a dog can be really hard. And then when you add moderate to severe behavior concerns that we're seeing on top of that, it's even harder. And so I really try to cultivate a space where my clients can sort of dump all of that into the space without judgment, regardless of what they're doing. Like, especially if they're feeling shame or, less than or failure. I mean, like all of this comes into our conversation about what's going on for them. And
Okay.
then we have a specific session designated where we talk specifically about that. So like what's coming up for them. We're not talking about training, we're not talking about the dog, we're
Like
just talking
life.
about their relationship to the training process, their relationship to their dog, their relationship to themselves as the caregiver. And then I use my 6 connection principles to help them learn new skills in order to how to cope with that from a mental perspective. And so it's again, it's not about like you need to do this management strategy, you need to do
Right.
this. Like we have time for that, but I have an additional carved out hour where we just talk about them and their experience because if they're burnt out or if they're challenged or they don't believe in the process or whatever their mindset is, that's going to impact our training plan. And so I've seen where we're talking about something and they have a mindset shift, and then that mindset shift actually helps to support the behavior plan. It's not that we changed anything. It's not that we trained a new behavior. It's not that we modified the plan. It's more that the client modified him or herself, and then they were able to show up to the training plan in a more like a more cohesive and like bought in place. And
More
so
present.
yeah, really present, really mindful.
I love that.
And they sort of clear out some of the stuff or some of the thoughts that might have been getting in their way.
I love that. I love that approach. That just sounds like that's so enjoyable not only for your clients but for you because you're just it's a different approach, but it's just so much more mindful and present. I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's so cool. It
Oh,
has to
thank
be
you.
fun to, like, experience that in real time and see them have those shifts and, like, "Oh, this is where I could have been holding on to this, and this is where this can transfer."
Mhm.
That has to be really awesome to watch that unfold.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch some of my clients take it to the next level where they're like, "And then I was at the doctor's office, and then I was with my colleague, and I'm like, "Oh, wow." Like, I
Where
mean,
you're
that is
trigger
my
stacked. Yeah.
yeah, like they're generalizing the skills and they're generalizing the awareness to other parts of their life, which is what I was doing with my dog Sully, right? And so that's really what it's like, I really want folks to be mindful of how they're showing up in their life, period, right?
Right,
Sort of like
seriously.
become more awake and let's try it out or learn this skill through the lens and through the experience with your dog.
I love that. That's
Oh,
so
thank you.
awesome. So great.
Yeah, it's
And
really fun.
I'm curious how that has affected how you move through your day, your life, your relationship with Peru, and your business. I know it was like a
Mm.
big box of questions.
Yeah, how it impacts me. Well, I would say I'm really aware in a lot of aspects of my life. Most people tell me like, "Wow, you're a really self-aware person." And sometimes that's really great, and other times that can be really what's the confronting, right?
Same. Yeah.
Because I'm like, "Oh, wow, yeah, I'm noticing this or I'm noticing this." And yet to me it is such a gift, right? Like how it shows up in my relationship with Peru is I might not like latch on or get hooked to a shame spiral, right?
Oh, okay.
I then am like, you know what, Marissa, I'm not sure that that's the entirely true. You're feeling shame around this thing. I understand that. What else might be true about this perspective? Right. So I'm
I
able to
love
sort
that
of
you
like,
talk yourself through it.
it's like get myself out of that. So I don't get I'm not blindly getting sucked into thoughts that could be a detriment to my
Right.
mental health and to my relationship with my dog. Right. And so I
Right.
do that with my business as well. I mean, we all suffer from quote unquote imposter syndrome, even though I don't know if it's really imposter syndrome. It could just be like we're feeling
Big feelings.
yeah, like we're feeling
Yeah.
doubt in ourselves one day. And sometimes I'll have some conversations with myself, like, is that really necessary? Or
Right.
what is true about this? Like, do you need to know a specific, like additional information? Do you need to phone a friend? Do you need to review the case? Or are you just having a day where like you're hungry and tired and then you're feeling overwhelmed? Right. So
And that's something we don't think about and how that affects us, though.
yeah, I mean, and just everyone drink a glass of water when you're feeling like unsure. I swear. It's
Go get a snack, drink
like
some
go get a
water, walk
snack and
away.
exactly. Go get a snack, drink a glass of water. Like even just take a walk around your block without your dog
Yes. Just
and
get your head on. Yeah.
then maybe address it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. And I feel like a lot of times it's so easy to get sucked into that and get caught up. And then the doubt, I love that. It is doubt. It's not even just imposter syndrome. We have this doubt of, do I know what I'm doing? Should I be doing this? And I think that they just kind of piggyback on top of each other. And then we have this pile of doubt sitting on us. And then we're weighed down. We don't want to do what we do. And then it's like, okay, then we lose another really great trainer in the industry because they get so overwhelmed with it. And oh, I love that. I love just the way you're handling that and how everything goes over to one another with your business, with Peru, with life, with clients.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't know who said this. This is not me. But it's the way you do one thing is the way that the quote is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. I like
Mm.
to modify it and say the way you do one thing is the way you do most things because
Yeah.
I don't think it's truly everything. But there's a lot of similarities, right? In terms of like how I'm showing up in this area, how I'm showing up in this area. Like there's a lot of common themes, a lot of common thoughts that I get hooked into. And so if I can look at it in one area, could I then generalize that learning or that awareness into another area, right? So
Right.
and what I have found with myself is that, yeah, there's a lot of overlap. And so if I'm feeling less than as a trainer in one area, oh, interesting, I'm feeling less than as a pet parent as well. And I'm feeling less than as a friend or whatever. Right. So it's having that awareness is critical.
So when you do get in, because it's inevitable, sometimes it just happens. When the doubt and everything, it starts piling on you. What do you usually do in that moment in like, yes, talking yourself through it, but is there anything else you usually do in that moment to really help work through it when it starts?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you bring up the fact that like it's inevitable because it
It
is,
happens.
right? Like
Yeah.
I sort of equate it to it's like if you have a dog that is reactive, like they're barking and lunging on leash, that's always going to be a choice for them. What we do in behavior modification is that we reduce the frequency at which that's happening, right? Through management and teaching them different skills. But some days are going to be harder for that dog to choose those new behaviors versus the really rehearsed behavior of barking and lunging, right?
Right.
And so like I use that example for myself, right? It's like I might like the really well rehearsed behavior for me is to like beat up on myself, say that I'm not enough or whatever, right? That's really well rehearsed.
It's easy to reach for that
It's
too
easy to reach
and
for
to
that,
fall in
right?
it. Yeah.
There are going to be days where I can recover from that a lot faster, the same way that like the reactive dog can recover a lot
Right.
faster. And there are some days where I can't. But so typically if I can recover, like if I'm in that moment where I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a different choice. Lots of times it could be a combination of things or it could be whatever I can grab in that moment. So sometimes it's changing my location. So it's like just standing up and walking across the room. Sometimes it is, like I said, taking a walk around the block without my dog. Sometimes it is just taking 5 deep breaths. Sometimes it is asking myself a question, right? Like instead of getting really hooked into that thought, asking myself, like, hey, what else might be true about this, right? Sometimes it is also just acknowledging like, oh, wow, I'm really feeling a lot of overwhelm. Like what? And then the next question is, what do I need in this moment? And it could be
Mhm.
like the other day, I had a ton of work to do. And I was just like, I need a nap. Like I need a
Your
nap.
body will tell you.
Exactly. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to understand why. I don't need to assign meaning to why I need a nap, but I need a nap right now. And so I took it. So a lot of it is talking to myself. A lot of it is listening to my body. And again, those things can range from like that nap was 2 hours versus standing up and walking across the room and taking 5 deep breaths took 30 seconds. Right. So
Right.
it just depends what level of resourcing I need in that moment. And I don't have a lot of like scheduled self-care. I mean, maybe I do. Like I hike with Peru and I get massage work, but like I try to ask myself daily in the moment, like, what do you need right now?
Like a check-in.
Yeah, it's like, what's here right now? Oh, wow, you're feeling well resourced. That's great. Okay. What's here right now? Oh wow, I need a nap. Right. So I'm really just or it is that like go have a snack and drink water.
Oh, wait,
It's
I'm
just like
dehydrated. Yeah.
exactly, like, all the problems are solved with hydrating yourself.
Right.
So, it is just a check-in often with myself of, like, what might I need? And very similarly to, like, our dogs, like, they might need something different one day versus another day, it's the same with us.
Right. I was just thinking like enrichment for dogs, and sometimes it varies. Sometimes they need
Mhm.
sniffing, sometimes it's shredding up cardboard, some days it's a licky mat. Like
Yep.
that's the same for us. And I love that you are so realistic about it because not every day is the same. We do not wake up the same every day. Some days I wake up and I'm raring to go. Let's open emails at 7 a.m. and then handle other things. Other days I will start work very late because I need to move slower because my brain just isn't there and I'm not going to force
Yep.
myself because you can't be productive when you're in that state. You can try to be, but you're not going to get very far.
Totally, totally. I love that you're not forcing yourself. I think there's a lot of pressure to like do so much in our culture and it is really hard to just go like, yeah, I'm going to take a nap or I'm going to start later or whatever it is. And it's just I think that that's really important that we listen to our bodies because our bodies are talking to us all the time.
Oh, right. And I think that if we don't, it's just going to keep getting worse. The alert little, red signals are just going to keep popping up, popping up. You can only mute them and silence them for so long. And then the burnout is just going to be harder and longer, and you're going to feel worse about it. Speaking of burnout, as that is also inevitable at times and it happens to the best of us, how do you try to prevent it and how do you recover when it does happen?
It's a good question. I try to prevent it by not overbooking myself, which is like I'm a
That's
chronic
huge.
overbooker.
Same.
So I've got strategies in my calendar to block stuff out. Like I've got windows that are blocked for admin. Like I'm really trying to be realistic about my calendar and my time. And I mean, there was a time when I wasn't taking 2 days off, like,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yep.
for like years.
Yep.
And I had a friend once just go, Marissa, this is
Can't.
like got to change. This is wild or whatever. And so now those 2 days are really sacred to me. And so just really being strategic and kinder with my schedule and not just trying to cram it all in. And really evaluating sort of like what does that say about me if I'm cramming it in? Like how is that part of my identity? Like is Marissa being productive? Like, is that part of who I am? Like,
Right.
could I also be, I don't know, casual one day? Like, do I have to be such a
High
productive,
functioning.
high
Yeah.
functioning person? And I'm not anywhere near like I've not redesigned my identity without that yet. That's definitely a work in progress, but just being really curious with myself about that. I definitely talk about myself. I drive type A plus plus perfectionist, right? And I'm like, I don't know, is that really all I have to be? Like, it's almost like labeling a reactive dog
Right.
or an anxious dog, but it's like, really, is that all who that dog is? Right. And so I think being really curious about that has been very helpful. And saying no a lot. Like I remember when my friend Sarah Stremming, she said to me, Marissa, have you made a list of what you take as clients and have you made a list of what you don't take? Like, can we get some hard no's written out so that when somebody emails you, when somebody calls you, when somebody does whatever, that
Right.
you can say no? Like, nope, that's on my no list. And maybe you make an exception here and there, but like you are really clear on what your yeses are and what your nos are. And that exercise was really um like mind-blowing because I was like, wow, I actually don't want to do a lot of the things that I'm doing.
Right. And you
And that's
shouldn't.
burning me
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Like I don't want to see cases that involve, A, B, and C. Right.
Right.
And so refer them out. Right. Like I don't want to deal with that. So that exercise was really helpful. And I do that quarterly. Like
Oh, I love that. That's great.
in terms of my life in general, like, okay, I'm engaging with this project right now. It might need to be wrapped up. I have a cap on engaging with this many because I do shelter consulting as well. So, I can only work with
Oh,
two
yeah.
shelters at a time or so I'm very clear about what I can and can't do. And then how I come back from burnout, that's a good question too.
I'm sure it varies every time too.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It does vary. I do think taking time off, whether that it like I have a tendency, I travel a lot for work and then I have a tendency to travel often. And so that's my time off, but that's not really time off. That's
You're
like
still in that work mode.
I'm still moving and shaking and especially if I'm going for work. Because I work with shelters in
Right.
person. And so for me, I'm like I'm even scheduled something for next week. It's just like a staycation, like just like 5 days off at home, just recharging,
Right.
looking at, what fills me up, what are the things that bring me a lot of joy, how can I have that space be really spontaneous and um, just have a lot of space, right?
Right.
Room for me to engage in whatever I want to, whether that's sleeping or whether that's hiking with Peru or seeing friends or family, like whatever that is. So I definitely need those, I think more often than I give myself credit for because I wind up going, going, going.
Right.
Um, I'm trying to work that into my preventative plan versus going, 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 crashing, and then
I
going,
am in that same boat.
yeah, like I need some time off. So I am trying to do that preventatively. And, you know, sometimes that happens and sometimes that doesn't. But um But yeah, I mean, being out in nature, hands down,
Yeah.
always supports me. I mean, I have a proactive yoga practice that I do weekly. Like I wouldn't survive without it. So being able to be in nature and move my body are really critical for me personally to um deal with life, period.
It's funny you say that because I am the exact same way, and I had foot surgery a month ago, and I have not been able to be active
Oh,
or be outside, and I have noticed my mental health tank
I
immensely.
bet. I'm sorry.
Thank you. But I go up to Josh and I'll just be like, "Why do I feel like this? I feel so icky and run down and I
Mhm.
can't think." And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't been able to move my body or go for a hike in a month when I am a
Yeah.
highly active person." And so I've had to find other ways to offset that, which has not been easy, but
Yeah.
it's figuring it out, and for me, that just turned into, "Okay, I'll go do some work in my backyard under the umbrella, I'll do a little gardening," like,
Mhm.
minimal parts where I can get it, so it's again, it's always finding where we can shift and adjust and change it where we need to.
I love that you are looking at other ways to get it, right? Because you're right. I mean, some people might not be able to access that for a variety of
Right.
reasons. Or like you said, something acute happens and you need to shift priorities, right? And so not even shift priorities, like shift what you're able to do. And so I love that you're trying to find it in other areas. And I know that it's
It's
not
not
the
the same.
hike in the woods. Sure, it's not the same, but it is time outside touching soil and being in
Yes.
nature in some capacity. That makes sense.
Yes, I could only do so many coloring books and
I know.
journals.
I was as an example. I was like, "Oh, I wonder what she's doing." Maybe the
That was
coloring book?
over in the first, like, 2 weeks, I was like, "I can't color another mandala. Put me in the yard."
That's hilarious.
But I yeah, I feel like a lot of dog trainers will relate to that, that getting outside, being in nature, especially with our dogs, is always a way to recharge ourselves. But I think that we also forget that, yes, it's awesome to do it with our dogs when we can, but sometimes when we are with our dogs in that element, we are still having to scan the environment, be aware of
Yep.
what's going on, and it completely is all right to go for a hike without our dog if we absolutely want time to just be in our own head. Although it doesn't sound as fun, I feel like hikes are just more fun with our animals.
But I 100% agree with you, but I think you're right, like, if I where I take Peru, there was really nobody there on this trail,
Right, in situations like that, you
so
can be
so I wind
lax.
up taking her, but, like, no, if I'm gonna walk in her neighborhood,
Oh, heck no,
that
yeah.
is yeah, like, especially now, like, it's so it's springtime and everyone's out or whatever, and, squirrels, bunnies, all the things, right? So, um, yeah, there are some times where I'm like, I'm walking around the block, like, and again, I I think that a lot of people think of self-care, like, I don't even like that word
It's poisoned
self-care.
a little.
Really
Yeah.
is poisoned a lot because it's like a lot of times that people go to this, it's either expensive or time consuming, right? It's like massages and baths and like, what, candles and whatever. And that stuff can be really resourcing to you. I love a good candle from Anthropology, like love it, right? But I really do feel like it can be just things in the moment, like stand up and stretch or walk around the block or take 10 minutes away, like eat your lunch outside
Oh my
versus
god,
in front of the
yes.
computer or putting your phone on airplane mode or just these little tweaks, I
That is
think really
self-care.
resource us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this like big event. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess we could just even start saying it's you're caring for self.
Mhm.
Instead of self-care, because it is tainted, but it is, it's little ways that we find time to show up and care for ourselves, and it's just
Mhm.
little tiny practices. I have a whole episode about how I have notifications off on my phone, I do not have email on my phone, like, and that is a way I care for myself because I know that is not good for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just and I think a lot of times we get caught in that productivity cycle, and that kind of lumps in with the imposter syndrome and the doubt because it's like, oh, we have to be productive. We're a business owner. Now we have to be an entrepreneur. We need to get ahead. We got to
Mhm.
market. We have to wear all these hats, and then we get caught up in it. But then we forget that, like, oh, we still deserve downtime, but we're our own boss. So it's hard to like have
Totally.
that downtime. And you see so many memes of like, I think someone else quoted it of like, I work for that captain, but he runs a real tight ship, and it's like it's me. I'm running the
I was
ship.
just thinking,
Yeah.
I was literally that's
I
why I was
totally
chuckling.
said it wrong. Yeah.
No, but I was just thinking that because I'm like, God, who the hell made this schedule? It's like, oh, it was me.
Me.
Like,
Yeah.
what is going on here? How do I not learn? Or yeah. So I agree with you that um it's almost like if we like, we're wearing all those hats and there needs to be a hat in there that is like care for self, like you said,
Yes.
right? Like it's like that's just as important as everything else, right? We don't go into a client's home and just skip over wellness for the dog. Like we don't. It's
Right.
stop on the humane hierarchy. And it's like we've got to do that for ourselves, right? So um yeah, it is one of the hats we it's one of the hats I encourage folks to wear, and I'm sure you do
Good.
too, considering
Yeah.
of your podcast.
Well, and it's just I think we get caught up in the whole business owner mentality that we don't remember that that is part of being a business owner, and
Mhm.
that is so important in self-preservation and being able to keep doing what we do.
Yeah,
You just said, like, we would not pass that on to a client or their dog. We would want them to prioritize themselves with their own time and time for their dogs, but yeah, we can't show ourselves that kindness and that grace.
exactly.
This has been such a good conversation. Oh my gosh. Um, just from your experience, your journey, is there any advice you would give to anyone that is really struggling with prioritizing themselves within their business? Maybe they're working 6 days a week, 10, 12-hour days, feeling the burnout.
Yeah. I think we've talked a little bit about a few different ideas, and that can be overwhelming for folks, especially when you're not used to taking care of yourself in that way, and, um, it might be choosing one small thing, like, it could be um, you know, s stopping your day at 5 instead of 5:30, or I don't know, 7 instead of 7:30, or,
Right.
it could be putting up an away message, to let your clients know when your office hours are. I mean, like, there's so many little things that you can do, and I'm just wondering if it makes sense for folks to choose something that feels a little bit realistic and choose something that feels small, but that can make a large
An
impact.
impact. Yeah.
An away message with your office hours. I did that. I started doing that a few years ago. I no longer need it, but um,
But did it help in the
it
moment?
really, like, it gave me such relief. Like, oh, okay, they got a response from me. They know when I'm
Right.
in my office. They know when I'm checking their videos. They know when I'm going to give them feedback. Like, I was really clear on all of that. And so then I didn't need to rush to emails every 4 seconds, right? And so that was such a huge relief for me. And honestly, it was a kindness to my clients. Like a lot of my clients were like, "Oh, I loved your auto reply." Like that made me
Right. They may not
there
be
was
aware of that
yeah,
even.
exactly. And so just choosing something small and being able to implement it. And if you have a hard time implementing it, think about how you can arrange your antecedents so that you can get that new behavior, right? So you might even need to break that behavior down into smaller steps, but how can you arrange your environment so that it prompts you to do, certain behaviors? Like I have a foam roller. I have a post-it note, plus I have the foam roller that's out near my bed. So it's like when I see the post-it note as I'm brushing my teeth, then I see the foam roller, like that arrangement
Oh, I love that.
and
Yeah.
allows me to go, oh, I have to, roll out whatever, right? So, and that body care is helpful for me in so many different ways, right? And it takes like five minutes for me. So choosing something that's really small, and if you're cultivating a new behavior, which you likely are, use what we know about behavior change and arrange your environment to get that behavior that you want for yourself.
Boom, mic drop.
Oh, they
That was
thank
so perfect. And
thank you.
oh, no, that was so great. Thank you for that. And thank you for coming on and talking about mental health with me and
Sure.
just supporting the podcast and hopefully helping other dog trainers and professionals feel like this doesn't need to be such a heavy thing.
Yeah. I would say too that our work is hard. I think I don't know if that it's like it's getting harder for a variety of reasons or if it's just that we're learning more and it is getting harder or the behavior cases are getting harder. I mean, there's so many variables, especially coming from the sheltering world, why that may be the case.
Right.
But it is hard. And so I never knew that going into this. Like I remember 15 years ago, like, "Oh, this is so exciting. Like, I'm
Get
gonna
to work
train
with
dogs and
puppies. Yeah.
I'm gonna work in a shelter and I'm gonna help modify fear." And it was just like, it was really all very vanilla back then. And now it feels more complex. I mean, our world feels more complex, right? And so, um, prioritizing this is necessary, like you said, as a business owner. And like if you're feeling burnt out and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling tired, like it's real because this work is really
Like
hard. And so
exhausting.
like prioritizing that is, prioritizing your mental health, speaking to somebody, speaking to a counselor, talking to friends, building that network. Like don't
Yes.
do this alone because the more we're doing it alone, the harder it is. So
Yes.
that's my last piece of advice.
No, I love that. You're so right. And we're in a great time right now in the dog training industry where we don't have to be alone. More people are networking. You see
Hmm.
it all over. So lean into it because I know people just want to connect with one another so that, we got to refer to somebody. We have to resource out. So
Yeah.
connect with people.
Yep.
And if you found this podcast helpful, you like what we're doing here at The Leash Mind, leave a comment, subscribe, tag us on social media. Just give us a little R plus, and we'll be back with another episode.